The Football World Cup, the unifying game. First World Cup began in 1930 in Uruguay. The World Cup came and followed in the model of the Olympics. The passion for football was an all-time high, and they wished to see a long tournament in which all nations competed. Thus, 13 nations enlisted in the tournament, and with its high success, a tradition was born. The tradition of the World Cup has grown stronger every World Cup. It led to the creation of smaller tournaments such as the European Cup or the Confederations Cup, which is also a tribute to the great sport. The tradition of the World Cup is intensified in the competition as each nation goes out to prove that their nation is supreme in the art of playing football. Each game is a tribute to the nation and their fans. Football has become a part of culture for these nations and serves as a reflection of the morale and development of their respective nations. The FIFA World Cup occurs once every 4 years and is much more than a football tournament. The World Cup is a celebration of the diversity of the nations and the passion and pride that come with each nation. Football is a universal sport in which the top 32 nations in football partake. Fans come from all across the globe just to be a part of this spectacle, which is a fusion of cultures. A stadium is full of diverse audience that, regardless of location, will always have a substantial number of fans. It's the most widely viewed sporting event, estimated with 715 million people watching the final match of the 2006 World Cup, and the 2010 World Cup broadcasted to over 204 countries, with over 250 channels showing the actual World Cup games. As a celebration of diversity of the nations, it's also a melting pot for culture. About 3.2 billion people watch a minute of the World Cup, which is 46% of the global population. Positive effects of the World Cup. In 2010, 130,000 jobs were created in South Africa by this event. 3.1 million people actually visited and attended the 64 tournament matches. In 2014, there's going to be the 20th World Cup. It's going to be an estimated 3.7 million people, and it's going to bring a lot of tourism to Brazil. It brings people together with a common interest, which is the love of football. It allows people to be prideful, go to a pub, go to a restaurant, and talk about the thing they love most, football. Throughout my experience, religion and sports are interwoven. I can say that both through this course as well as just everything I've seen. Sports appear to be people's replacement for religion. This can be linked to the increasing number of atheist agnostic individuals. Religion is a source of guidance, a place for people to find their safe haven, a source for spirituality, and which have rituals to further establish their connection. Religion in the past has served to distract or provide assurance to individuals in times of struggles or in times where people need a break. In modern day, individuals turn to sports as a safe time in crises such as the economic crisis, welfare, and any issues that may come. Individuals in religion often come towards mass unification for shared beliefs and traditions, such as major holidays such as Christmas or even like Easter Sunday. Spectacles such as the World Cup can appear to be the modern-day replacement for such activities. The whole world is unified by the love of football. Fans are divided by their national patriotism or their self-identified country. Fans then watch together in a tradition where everything but the game appears to stand still. A ninth of the world has been recorded to watch the 2006 World Cup, which emphasizes universality. The competition unifies people for the love of the game and pride. People meet at pubs, bars, and restaurants come together to watch the game. Each fan rests their hopes on their nation and their respective countries. Each fan rests the hope of their nations on their respective teams and passionately supports them. The Brazilian team this World Cup may exemplify this. The Brazilian fans were so invested with their faith in the team that when Brazil had a shocking 7-1 loss to Germany, the Brazilian fans began to openly weep. It was impossible to believe that this was happening. From little children to grandparents, the nation was in tears and in awe of a belief-defying game. Everything the fans wanted didn't happen, but they still persevered and came out for the consolation match in which Brazil played Netherlands. Sadly, their faith was unable to be rewarded, but it just shows how unified they were. These two quotes represent the unification of nations. Franz Beckenbauer had said this, a German legend. Football is one of the world's best means of communication. It is impartial, apolitical, and universal. Football unites people around the world every day. Young or old, players or fans, rich or poor, the game makes everyone equal. It makes people happy and makes people sad. This quote emphasizes the universality of the game and how people are tied to it so effectively. This is a quote by Evan Powers. There is nothing that can be compared to the magnitude of the impact the World Cup has, and it's about culture. It's about passion and love for your country, your history, your pride. It's who you are, where you in the world you hail from. And an example of unification of a nation. In the past World Cup, 2014, Belgium was a nation that was divided by its political problems, social, economic problems, and it was then unified by its, the promise and talent of its national team. The divisive national election had 2 million people who voted for separatists. They wanted to separate Low Country into Dutch-speaking North and the French-speaking South. The division between the Flemish and Walloons made it even worse. The Belgians set aside their differences for this big celebration where they faced the United States in the round 16 in Brazil. These strong performances further showed the unification of the nation. They were happy to watch their players play. Other examples of unification can be shown where in Ghana the World Cup performances united various separated tribes. In Iran, it ignited gender equality because of the unification. Another example of this unification can be shown by Waka Waka, Shakira's song, which is testament to the passion and the sense of unification that the people felt. It had over 700 million views. Another effective song was Waving Flag. It was another World Cup song which represented unification, the hope of growing nations, and the hope to win the tournament. It showed a lot of passions. These spectacles serve a greater purpose than just a match. They unify nations. For example, this can be compared to the Rugby World Cup in which Nelson Mandela single-handedly pleaded the importance of South Africa winning it. He unified the nation by saying that they can win, show stability, and energize South Africa. The World Cup in sports is more than just a spectacle. It can often provide a host for unification to overcome political, social, and economic issues within. Thus, the existence of these spectacles often transcends just the competition between nations, but rather a source of joy and hope for countries. It is something of very importance. When the World Cup is in session, everything but the games stands still.
Give me freedom, give me fire.